So, at times, it's pretty obvious that this is Photoshop, right? And let's have a little bit of an introduction to Photoshop here. So I've done some fun stuff with Photoshop. It is a fun thing to do when you can, imagination is basically the limit when you take opportunity of the full range of what Photoshop can do. Okay, so here we have every mother's complete dream to have complete control of the kids. And there's a lot of fun in Photoshop, and you can have games and so on. And now we're moving into sort of like a more aesthetic use. We can obviously see that's Photoshop, but what about this? And this is the topic of today's little masterclass, which I'm going to squeeze in right now because I got 10-15 minutes before I have customers coming in, maybe 20 minutes, so I have to speed it up a little bit. But we're going to focus on the Photoshop you don't see but actually is just as extraordinary or even more extraordinary because you don't see it. So this photo here I had my working on late last night, and there's something completely, in a sense, fake about this. But what is it? What is it? Let's see if we can spot it. So I'm gonna go in, and you're gonna have a quick look around, and we're just gonna go check all the heads and whatnot, and there's something very wrong. What is it? But it's not wrong in a sense that this has been the plan from the very beginning to do this. So, have you spotted it or not? It's totally fine if you've not spotted it, okay? Just be honest and say, I don't know what it is. And that's fine because we hope it's like that with this picture. Basically, my mission was, I was told there is these two people and they are in the States, and we're going to shoot this in Denmark, and this person will not, and his daughter will not be there. How do we do that? And then I gave the instruction that okay, so what we need to do is we're going to have this guy stand with his kid in front of a white background. Now this is not a studio background. You can see that it's it has a structure in it, and there's the lighting in the eyes, not studio light. Okay. And what the camera, it's probably a phone camera who's done this, has done to the when it says compress this, you can see the artifacts or the leftovers from the compression here actually making texture in the fabric. So okay, so this was sent to me in advance so I could prepare. Okay, so I did something which I thought could fit in. Let's have a look, see if I can get it to arrive. Yeah. I did this. This is not a technically superb picture. There's a big difference between the lighting on this little girl's face and the guy back here. But that doesn't really matter because the important thing is we need to be able to match it to the other one. And you're going to learn two key things here in this video, how to do it. So you're going to learn about the light in the eyes and the shading, okay? And that is very important because that's the main point of bringing the illusion there. So let's just take it very fast from scratch. Let's see, I got this here, which is basically an empty canvas, okay? So we're gonna start by putting in this, And we're gonna fix it up a little bit so that we remove the some of the, you could if you go close now, I think I did remove something in the background, or did I not? Not really. Okay, let's bring in the different layers. So we start, it's just like Photoshop is like pancakes, you build on top of each other. So now we're gonna do a little bit of editing of this layer here. I'm gonna remove some of it because we have now these coming in, and it looks a little bit wrong. You can see that there needs to be this shading, and you see these steps I'm doing here are very important. Putting in a little bit of shade. It still looks wrong. You can see around the foot here it looks wrong. This is going to end up in black and white, so we don't need to worry about colors. That would have been an additional nightmare. So we need to start working on the other people here, and there was an additional head change. You can see that here there is a head where he was looking not so happy, so we needed to fix his head, so we done that there. Just take from the same series of photo very close when the body has not moved, preferably, that's best. And we need to then to build it up so the lighting becomes more the same, and we need to actually, when you go to black and white, I need to bring that on because then it makes more sense. You see it's still a lot, it's not really there. So now we're gonna put in a lot of small changes of lighting of the different faces, and then you'll notice that there has been also, and we need to still work a little bit with the foot down here. You could see that there is something, it needs to be in the shade, so it needs to sort of like pop in the shade, so it's in the shade of the arm and so on. And at this point we've also done a little bit of a change. The flash has now appeared in the two people's eyes who are now in the studio. They have received the same lamps as the rest of the people have, namely two flashes. You see the same flashes are now repeating. We see a lot which we don't see. That means that if you actually are somebody who has no idea about photography as such, about something, but they have just been alive, they are completely super trained in spotting small mistakes, but they're not necessarily sure about what it is they see, because they see it automatically. Every time we meet another person, we look at small things to find out, is this person angry with us, or is this person this or that? So we are monsters like spotting small things. Everyone is. So you should, as a final thing, you should, I brought in my wife and say, okay, so what's fake about this photo? And happily for me, she did not spot it, and was considering maybe there was something funny about all these feet down here or something. And that's good. That's when you basically, you have many times done this thing that if I Photoshop people, then all of a sudden they will say, look, I mean my nose looks a little bit wrong, doesn't it? It looks like a little bit like it's to this side, and then you show them the original one and it's has not even been touched. So if you tell a person this photo has been edited and they are on it themselves, they're likely to find mistakes which are not mistakes, because they're going into that search mode. Okay, but this photo is sort of like ready for go. Also, you can see that this thing that there are the carrying of kids, I have repeated. It is a very important thing to sort of like, if you have this photo as a starting point, you have to sort of like go with that. This is now the fundamental idea. Of course, I had a little bit of saying, and I could say to the guy in the States, you need to do this. And then the rest have to do something which matches that. And you have to sort of like find out when you do the photo, where is this guy going to be? Okay? So, I think I'm almost out of time. If I should do anything, I could tell a funny story. I had a business client, and I was called out to do a portrait of 3 people, and there were only 2 when I arrived, and then I was sent the photo later by mail, and then somehow 3 people emerged on this professional business photo, and my contact person in this company, with a big smile, told me last time I saw us, he said, and he hasn't even asked when this photo was taken, because the joke was that he saw the picture and saw, okay, I did that, I can't remember when, but that would be embarrassing to ask when that was taken and so on. Anyway, lots of fun, and of course with AI and so on, we are moving into a new world where you can do deep fakes automatically, almost with no aid of any skill in Photoshop. But for now, I'm showing you how you do it manually, the good old-fashioned way, by craftsmanship. Okay? So I hope this little episode of my channel here was of use to you. Remember 2 things which are really important: the light in the eyes and the shade which the people cast upon each other is key. Okay? So that concludes today's lesson. Thank you for your time, and do remember to subscribe and like and all the rest. Okay? Take care.